Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're doing all right out there. The weather is getting warmer, flipping the calendar from February to March. The madness that is state tournament season has hit the high school ranks. With that, we're joined by the athletic director at Newburyport, Kyle Hodsdon. How are you, Kyle? What's going on, man?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back here. I know it's tournament time when I'm back here. So
Yeah, it really is.
Great
right?
time of year.
I know. Is there anything better than this? Like you guys put a bunch of teams. Like I don't want to jump the gun, but you're probably going to talk for that award again, right? You guys had unbelievable seasons across the board, and are you like the best program in the state right now? For God's sakes.
Well, we've got a great senior class. I know I've said that the last couple of years, but this group is fantastic. We had a great fall, and it's carried right over into the winter. And we expect us to keep advancing in the playoffs.
It's like it's a program. When you have great seniors year after year, there's no secret to that, right? There's no the secret is that you have great senior leadership. Those juniors quickly become great seniors, don't they?
Well, it helps when you have the model like that, and it really starts in the off season.
Yeah.
We've seen that improve over the last couple of years, and we've seen the teams that put the effort in as a team in the off season in the weight room or doing conditioning. That team have more success, and other teams are seeing that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of contagious. It's infectious, and we're just building on our own success. And like I said, it starts with in the weight room with Coach Amin and our strength program, and our coaches have been fantastic. Our expectations are high, and our kids play hard. So it's a nice combination.
Actually, you mentioned Coach Amin, who I know very well after calling those games for many years, and I got to catch up with him in the locker room before one of his games here recently, and dare I say it, he seemed to be a very happy, content Coach Amin. I'm not sure I've seen him like that too often.
Well,
over the years.
I don't know how to describe it, but I know his team is playing hard.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're focused. So he's able to coach. He doesn't have to deal with anything else that goes with that. We played North Andover. Yeah. Beat him 4-0 in the first round of the bank tournament a couple weeks ago. Next day I saw him, or 2 days later I saw him the day of the championship game versus Andover. It was noontime for a 7 o'clock game. I saw him walking into the weight room to roll out and stretch. The day before they lifted right after their game, they came into the Andover game focused. So their approach is business-like all the time. Yeah. And coach likes that. What's not to like about that? Yeah. And they didn't give up a goal. They beat Andover that night 3-0. So it's they're on a nice run, and hopefully keep that going and playing their best hockey at this time of year.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that was interesting to see. I know you have boys basketball tonight, home game of the state tournament. That's always a nice thing when you can host some state tournament games too, and just have that little extra home court advantage, right?
Yeah, that's the best. During the regular season, we have so many events going on, some simultaneously. Yeah. Kids can't get everywhere. They're practicing. Sub-varsities are practicing. Right now, it's just varsity teams, and this is the only show in town. So we put a lot of emphasis to our throughout the whole district, with teachers, with our students, that this is our game tonight. We have no other events, no other games tonight. So, our boys basketball team will feed off that energy. It's difficult to get a home playoff game. It's difficult. We win tonight, we'll have a second home playoff game. So, big advantage for those teams. Same thing with hockey. Yep. So we're hoping that we can feed off that energy. And in the past couple of years, we were just at the bottom of the Division II enrollment. Yeah. And we were not. It was really difficult for us to get a home game. So we haven't had one. Now we're where we should be, top of Division III. The 71 teams. We finished number 8 out of 71, 17-3, and that secures them 2 spots, and 2 home games. If we win tonight, a second home game, and then a chance to play the number 1 team in our division.
Well, that would be intense, wouldn't it?
That won't be home, but it will be a position we'd like to be in.
No matter where it is. Yeah. When do they start going neutral courts? Is that about that round or round?
That would be the final 4. So the first 3 rounds.
It's only the final 4.
Basketball. Yeah. Hockey, it's the first 2. Okay. So we could potentially host 2 hockey games, and then it would go to a neutral site.
Okay, wow. So exciting times. It's been a great winter for you guys. What's the was there anything that surprised you from any of the I know you always feel good about your teams, but is there one team, whether it be just how good they really are, or maybe they weren't supposed to be that good, and here they are in the state tournament? Is there anything that really jumped out to you this winter?
Yeah, there's no surprises because that's our expectation. Our girls basketball team did lose quite a bit of playing time from last year's team.
All the firepower, yeah.
And a group that had maybe lost 5 games in a 3-year span. So that was a big question mark, and they still were a 500 team and won some big games. So that was a nice year for them. You know, our track teams had their typical track years. Yeah. The co-op swim did fantastic over there with the school from Byfield. Yeah. And then we, we have a couple of 3 wrestlers with Pentucket. Yeah, who did very well, and we actually had a meet at City Hall.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much fun was that?
That was a blast. Yeah. You know, it was like an old balcony, and it's a great introduction to the sport in the city of Newburyport.
I was there for the beginning of that, and I did some stuff beforehand. I was actually there before the kids were there. I was there as Triton walked in. And I got a second to just kind of stand on the mat and just kind of look at it, and I was like, this is like the best arena ever for wrestling. This is going to be really cool. I don't know whose idea that was. Was it yours?
It wasn't our idea. No, that's not our team. I think it was a joint effort by everyone involved trying to promote the sport in the city.
I thought everything through Newburyport had to go through you. That's what I thought.
Nope, that's not the case.
All right. But it was a great idea, though. It was cool. It had that kind of, you're right, old-timey feel. It's almost like an old Boston Garden feel or something with that. Right. It was great. Are you guys going to make that a yearly thing or annual thing?
I would think so. Yeah. You know, I'm not sure it would have the same pizzazz if we did it every home match, but we're with Pentucket, so it's their call. They have a home gym that they play. Yep. But it's a nice, place in the middle, and it was a great crowd, and we had to actually max. We couldn't just let anybody in. You had to have a ticket in advance to get in. So. Very cool. Like
my high school, I was Danvers, pretty big community. We never had wrestling at the high school level. We didn't even have co-ops, I don't think. I never remembered if we did. Do you hope to bring wrestling to Newburyport at some point, like strictly Newburyport? Or?
Well, like anything, like we've done with girls hockey and with ski and volleyball, if there's an interest and it can be sustainable, then we want to produce... promote it and produce opportunities for our student athletes. So most of the sports that we've added have been female opportunities, which was one of the goals when I started here 9 years ago. And now with wrestling, there are 4 schools in the Cape Ann League that have wrestling teams. It seems natural that we could be a participant. Yeah. We just need to have the athletes who are interested. So
that's really how these things build, right? I mean, it is as simple as that.
It is, and you obviously want to be successful too. You don't want to just have a team; you want to have success. So,
does that mean you don't want to jump the gun and start too soon? Is it?
Well, like with volleyball, we started as a club, and we had 4 teams immediately, 4 levels, and our top level did very well at the club level, and the MIA suggested we go full varsity the second year, even though our plan was to stay at club 2 years. Yeah. And wrestling, I think we could compete right away. What I would hope is that we would be able to sustain that competition and develop a youth program like we do in other sports, so that you have, and we see this with volleyball now, athletes are coming in as a freshman who play volleyball. They don't necessarily learn it as a freshman. Yeah. So that's why our volleyball team has won 3 straight Cape Ann League championships and have went to the Final 4. Yeah. And Sydney, who was a Player of the Year, Massachusetts a few years ago for us. Yep. She helped as well.
I had no doubt about that. Where'd she end up going? I remember
she's at Purdue.
Purdue, that's right. Yeah, I remember she came on, just going Big Ten. That's right. Who was it? I remember years and years ago. I think you were obviously the AD here when that happened. The woman, young lady who started the volleyball program essentially, or came to you, I think, and just said, hey, there's a lot of volleyball interest. I know a bunch of my friends are really talented, athletic, and they'd love to start a team. And her and I think we had a couple of men, but came in here and told us about just bringing that to your attention. Yeah. And you said, go for it. Let's build it. And that's how it started. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, and we did that at my place in Maine, exactly the same blueprint, where someone showed an interest. I asked them to get really genuine interest, develop a list. we'll have a meeting. We had a meeting, you know, and make sure it's not like an intramural program. This is going to be an interscholastic program. And they just ate it up, and we're
the volleyball thing, that's pretty drastic what you guys have done, because that wasn't that long ago. I remember those conversations here on this show in that very seat you're in, and now to be talking about, I mean, just the success of the program. It's like, you haven't had volleyball for 20 years? It's crazy.
Yeah, and Lori Salazzo has done a great job coaching. And she runs a nice summer program for youth kids. So there's introduction there.
Yeah, that's always nice when you can get that youth level, same coach, right?
Yeah, I mean, our JV and JV2 teams were more than competitive. They were very, very good compared to their opponents. So, and our girls who now are competing at the high school level, they play on club teams. They put effort in the off season. So it's important to them. Some of them are volleyball players first. And it's actually exciting because, there's a point every play. Yeah. And they're very athletic and skilled. And, it's fast-paced.
It's a great sport to watch. Yeah. If you've never been to a volleyball match, it's great. And actually, I had some family that went on and played in college, too. And same deal. I mean, it's same game, obviously, and just the athleticism. Some of these kids grow a little bit. And at that level, it's more of a, college sports. I know you got family that has gone through that, too. It's like that's very business-like at times. You were there to go to school and play volleyball, and that's a whole different level too. So, but it's a great sport. I'm glad we talked about that a little bit. What is the advice going in? I know the one thing about this time of year is state tournaments. You've worked all year, put together great regular seasons. So many times, I mean, we see it in March Madness basketball. Of course, we see it at the high school level. It's one and done. So you got to be ready to go on that day, and it's a hard thing sometimes, right?
Yeah, it is. And watching Maine and New Hampshire just end most of their seasons, I got a chance to go to a few of those games. Yeah. And you see seasons end, you see careers end on plays that you wouldn't expect. Yeah. Or, so use basketball, for example, a team that doesn't rebound, your season could end. You could get upset, giving up second chance opportunities. So kids really got to buy in, listen to the game plan. Yep. And, they've got one shot at it, and if they let down, there's no tomorrow. I mean, you use cliches, but there really isn't. So when that game's over, you either advance or you turn in the uniform. So really survive and advance, get to the next round, buy into, trust teammates, but all that needs to be built throughout the year. Yeah. If you just can't turn it on in a playoff game. So no, I remember Bill Belichick always said, and it resonated with me. But he's like, when you expect to just keep going, so it's like a crash landing. It's like just everything stops, and it's everybody expects you're going to get through that next round. You never foresee your career ending, but the whole one and done formula is just very it's intense. And then you talk basketball, for instance, talk about rebounding. Maybe officials call the game a little bit differently than had been in the league all year round. Maybe guys get in foul trouble, like weird things happen. So you got to try to control what you can control, I guess. Absolutely. And hopefully playing at home gives us advantages. Getting tonight's game at home, and then we get.
You're saying refs be swayed by home crowds? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying our kids feed off that energy. It has nothing to do with the officials.
I'm just kidding with you.
Could care less.
How about the kids in the stands too? Because I remember moments that was sometimes intensity levels run high in the stands as well. I remember my school, we had some issues back in the day. What's your advice to the student section at these games?
Our students have been fantastic all year.
I like that.
Fall, winter, the best in my 9 years here.
Really?
By far. They've been enthusiastic. They've done everything for the right reasons. They're building support throughout the day and trying to motivate people to come to the game, and they're there to cheer for our team, to help our team, and not get caught up in the other stuff. It's been amazing. I don't want to jinx us, going forward here. Yeah. But they're focused, and I think our student section feels part of our team or part of the success, and I know our teams appreciate their involvement. So when we play and we represent Newburyport and all that, it's our community, it's our school. It's not just the 12 to 22 people that are on the team. It's everyone. So we advance, we succeed together, or if we don't, we do that together as well.
I noticed that especially at the hockey games. Obviously, hockey tends to be a pretty rowdy environment, and our TV setup is right behind the student section. Thank you for coming over for some intermission reports as well. We always appreciate that during the busy hockey games. But you're right. That student section, there's not so much back and forth with the other student sections like I have seen in, when I was younger and all that. That used to happen a lot. You don't see any of that, and you see they're loud. They are loud, and like players score goals for Newburyport. They immediately turn to the student section and jump into the glass. I guess that's what you mean when you feel a part of it, right?
Right. Well, they don't technically jump in the glass because that's a penalty this year.
Oh, sorry.
They go over to the glass to look at their their classmates.
No jumping, Drew.
Yeah.
No jumping.
No,
Sorry.
But our students, they appreciate the effort that our kids are putting in.
Yep.
And after a goal, they actually thank whoever it is. That's a chant.
Yep.
And they don't get caught up in the other stuff. They have fun. They have a lot of energy. Makes for a great atmosphere. I wish we could have that for all our games, boys games, girls games, and that would just make a great atmosphere for everyone.
There are some real MIAA changes that have. I used to do these games all the time, and now Sarah pretty much yells at me when she needs help for me to jump in. But for somebody's I'm a little bit removed from it like I used to be, and let me take a little bit of this off you. Like for people complaining about lack of rosters out there, that's not a you thing at Newburyport. That is a statewide rule now. We don't give out the rosters before the games, right?
Yeah, it's leagues are putting it in. MIA is frowning upon it because some schools, some student sections, some people are not. It becomes too personal with numbers and names, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not here. We could do it here. Our kids wouldn't do it if we told them not to. They wouldn't do it. It gets some places cross the line.
I guess, yeah.
And so it's unfortunate.
Whatever happened to if they're booing you on the road, that's the biggest sign of appreciation you could get.
Could be,
All right, sometimes it's mean. I get it. Fine, fair enough. What other rules don't I know about? I didn't know that. Jumping into the glass.
Yeah.
Any sport. It doesn't have to be hockey.
We're NFHS rules now across the board.
Okay.
National Federation. So we've now gone to strictly high school.
Yep.
Whereas a few years ago we were playing NCAA football, and there were 5 timeouts a half, and it was different rules. We were playing Major League Baseball rules for baseball. So now we're playing the same rules that everyone in high school is across the United States. So each year there are points of emphasis, minor rule changes. Like in basketball, for example, there's no more 1-and-1. If you remember, on the 7th foul, a team would shoot a bonus 1-and-1.
NCAA kind of rule, yeah.
Now we're using the NCAA women's model. We play at the end of a quarter, the fouls go back to 0.
Yep.
So at 5 fouls, you shoot 2. But if you don't get to 5 fouls going into the second quarter, you go back to
Resets.
0. So we've found that there are less foul shooting going on.
Yeah.
Games are a little bit cleaner. Games are actually a little bit quicker because it's not the fouling. But we also see, and I talked to our coach about it, you have to practice fouling. Because if there's a minute to go, 30 seconds to go, and you only have committed 1 foul, and you're down by 3, you
got to give some.
You've got to foul.
Yeah.
And if you don't foul correctly, you might foul and they shoot. Now they're
intentional foul. Yeah.
Yeah. So
how many teams do that? I've seen state tournament games lost on that by or at least you take yourself out of a chance to tie by intentional foul, 2 shots in the ball, and then that's a good point. So all right, so those are the rules, but we're pretty set. So I kind of like that rule. More flow, maybe.
It is a better flow.
Yeah,
better flow.
No monitor, right? These refs don't have to go to any monitors. That's ruining college basketball. I'll tell you.
we don't have monitors at courtside.
Yeah,
so.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
The college basketball. Have you watched a college? I know you don't have any time because you've got a million sports going on. But have you watched a college basketball game?
Yes.
Every single game.
Yeah.
These guys go to the mall. I think the refs like being on TV.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
You see a college basketball, you see a college hockey, the men's, women's. If there's anything that's controversial or go either way.
When you do this,
the
little thing. NBA, unwatchable with that. They go to the monitor every 10 seconds.
As bad as it is to watch, on TV, it's worse if you're live.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the arena, watching just no action. But I guess that if they get the call right, at the end of the day, that's what you want. But there's also the human error part of it that's part of the game as well.
Give me the old school. I'll take the human error. I think it all evens out, right? Maybe not always, but I don't know. So I think these games are changed more by stalling at the monitor for 2 minutes and ruining any momentum teams have. Is that just old school? Is that get off my lawn? Is that what that is? I don't know.
Yeah, that does make sense. It does slow down momentum. It does change things, and as you're waiting for the call, you don't know what the next possession's going to be. Are you up 2? Are you tied?
Yeah.
It's just
like and even the baseball thing now, they get the the spirit of the rule is not the, if a guy slides into the bag and beats a throw and the foot pops off a little bit, or the double play used to be you slide your foot over the bag, and that was that's how they would protect themselves and get out of the way. Right. Now it's, did he actually touch the bag with the top of that cleat? It's like, come on, that's not what we're talking about here. Okay, there's my little vent session of the day. I won't ask you what team you think goes the furthest, because I know you won't answer that for Newburyport, but do you think we have is there a state championship game in the winter here for Newburyport?
I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
And it would be, it's going to be, I won't say difficult, but it's going to be highly competitive if any of our teams get to the Final Four.
Okay.
To advance, because the matchups in the Final Four in each will be.
You've already looked at the brackets, huh?
The teams are good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately track is already done, so I can't say track.
Sure.
But our girls and our boys had a great run, but our girls finished 4th in the state, and they really had a chance to win it. And but I think some of our at least one of our others is going to be as good as of a team as I've seen since I've been here, maybe 2. But you need a lot to happen to be able to survive and advance and to win the whole thing.
Yeah, and if you don't need luck, I'm not going to say you need luck to win it all, but you definitely have to avoid bad luck. Is that fair?
No question.
I think that's.
We need to have healthy teams.
Sure.
People, not in foul trouble or in penalties situations. They've got to have our best people on the ice, people focused.
You guys pretty healthy right now? All the sports across the board, you doing good?
We're good right now.
Ooh,
so
right.
we're in a great spot right now.
Who's your athletic trainer there? She's great.
Molly Hogan is the best.
Yeah. We should have her on again, by the way. She was outstanding when she came on. I learned a million things that show that I hadn't.
Always
remind me.
She is. When I say she's the best, I'm not just saying it. She is all in for our kids. And
yeah, I always get like the casual hello from her at sporting events, because she's always doing a million things. Like she's incredibly busy. But we got to have her back on, because she was great on this show. What happened with the reseeding?
Yeah, so Division II boys basketball.
Athletic director's nightmare, I imagine?
Well, yeah, an athletic director, we have deadlines.
Yeah.
And I think February 16th was our deadline for winter teams. So I have to submit to the MIA our boys basketball, ski, girls basketball, girls hockey, boys hockey. They're going to qualify for the playoffs. And then I have to put in the information, the rosters, venues, and other information.
Is that a lot of work?
It's more than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Coming from other states, that's not necessary. Like, why, if our team qualifies, why aren't they automatically in the tournament? And some say, well, with the way the power rankings go, a team could be 4-16.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't really believe they deserve to be in the playoffs. Well, if that's the case, there's actually a working day the MIA has before they release the brackets. Mm-hmm. A team could opt out. That would solve all of this issue. The athletic director did not meet the deadline for his boys team. Just could be an overlook, an oversight, or maybe they didn't think they were going to make it. I think they finished 32nd. But why put everybody in that position? All teams should be eligible.
Yeah, put them in, and then if they come out, that's easier, right?
Right, and it's not the extra
Let
work.
A team walk through or something.
Right.
I would imagine is what they do.
So
because we had people on like buses, right, going to games. I think
there were at least 2 teams.
Oh my goodness!
An hour into a trip to go to a game for a play-in game, and then I believe there were 19 games or 19 teams that were going to play a different opponent.
Wow!
So, in this basketball, like any sport right now, the coaches are spend all weekend preparing, scouting, putting together a game plan. And then all of a sudden, that's 3 days that you just spent that are now wasted because you
probably never see them.
Yeah. And you've got a shift, and you've got a day or 2 to prepare for a new opponent.
Wow, that is something. And not to mention, from your point of view, to put 20-something kids on a bus and a coaching staff. Like, I know those logistics are very thought out, and people get paid for doing those things and all that stuff, right? I mean, that's a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I mean, other than the inconvenience for the fans and the parents and the buses, it's also a quite hefty expense for a bus. And the home school would have officials assigned and all the game personnel. So to put on an event,
the venues hosting, some venues hosting.
Right. You go to our boys basketball game tonight. It's an all-day setup. When people walk in, when the doors open at 5 o'clock and people walk in, it's not like it's been like that all day. The floor's been washed, everything's been set up, it's meticulous. Everything it's taken hours to get ready. So these people who had those games set, and ticket takers in place and table personnel, it's just...
Yikes.
It's tough. It's unfortunate.
That's a big misstep, man. Final minute with Connor. Kyle Hodgson, Newburyport Athletic Director. I had Connor Moholland on my mind. He just walked in before you there. We were doing I was showing me all his woodwork. He works for Moholland. Spells it differently than me. Moholland Repairs, but unbelievable woodworker, Connor. But anyways, final minute here with Kyle. Richie Eaton was in here the other day. The great Richie Eaton, and he had lovely things to say about you with that hockey tournament. He literally said, I really don't have much to do with it anymore. This is all Kyle's show. The reason the Newburyport Bank tournament, Newburyport Bank Classic goes on is because of you, my friend. And he made sure to say that several times on the show. So nice job putting that tournament together.
Oh, thank you. And Richie, he's being too kind. He's involved with everything, and I enjoy spending. We're at the rink together for 40 hours. In 4 days.
Incredible.
We have and it's a blast. We have 4 games. 12 of the games are not Newburyport teams, so it's a little bit it's not as enjoyable as watching our kids participate.
Sure.
But it's last year I think we had 3 state champions come from that tournament. Yeah. And the coaches love coming back, the kids like it. It's nice seeing other communities. We have teams from Worcester, Springfield, Norwell, they come from all over, so it's a big deal, plus the locals. So,
is it true you guys have a waiting list for that right now?
Well, we have teams who are interested.
Yeah.
We don't have people who leave.
Yeah.
When we do have somebody leave, we have 3 boys brackets by strength.
Yep.
And we have 1 girls bracket, which is very strong. Division I champion came out of there last year, and if somebody leaves, we try to match up somebody that would work for that bracket.
Gotcha.
So that you have 2 competitive games, and hopefully it helps those teams get ready for the playoffs.
Okay. Well, there you go. That does that.
And I would like to thank Newburyport Bank. We couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
This is the 28th annual.
Yep.
And they are not only monetary sponsors, but they're involved. They come to games. The bank president, Lloyd Hammond, came to a game, watched a game. So they're all in. Yeah. And this would not happen without them. So we really appreciate it.
It's funny. I saw a kid at the CVS down the street on the day of one of those games. I guess I was coming here, and the little guy, his father is explaining to him, no, you don't have hockey today. Something's going on. And there's a bunch of the high school kids are all playing down at the rink today, so you don't have hockey. And the kid goes, oh, well, can we go watch all the hockey? And I was like, you want to go watch all the games? Yeah, all right. And they went in, and I guess they went right over and bought tickets to the game and spent I don't know, you spend the whole day there? I don't know how it works, but they watched it.
They can. There's 4 games, one admission for all day.
Do you walk outside that rink in sunlight finally, or what's that feeling?
It's
a lot of hockey hours.
It is a lot of hockey, but it's leading right into the playoffs, and it's the best time of year.
Cool. Richie gave you, he said you were fantastic. So nice job with all that, my man. Have a great state tournament. This is always a fun time of year for you, for all of us watching, and we wish all the Newburyport kids the best. And it's intense, so.
Thank you. Thanks for your support. Our student athletes really appreciate this, and I'm sure our community does as well.
They are all great every time they come in here. I always say, I don't know if you're just picking the best kids, but man, I've never been disappointed every time those kids come in. And some of them, stopped me about that thing over at the, what do we call that? The athletic conference there with all the kids from all the schools.
The Sportsmanship Summit.
Thank you. The Sportsmanship Summit. Yes. I still get stopped about that. Because I'll recognize them. Have you been on before? No, but I met you at the Sportsmanship Summit. We had a nice talk. I was like, oh yeah, that was great. The kids really seem to actually genuinely enjoy that. Some of those high school things, you can, the coaches are forcing us to go, but they seem genuinely into it.
Yeah, and certainly with what they do here with Newburyport High School, but that Sportsmanship Day was fantastic, and you talked to everybody from the 12 Cape Ann League schools.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. Hopefully it's an annual thing here and with you. And like that, when we survey them after that was actually their highlight to be able to share.
Which part?
With me?
With
you came in.
Oh, come on.
They were able to share what they learned for the day. So,
Nice, yeah. All right. Well, they just like being on TV.
I think so.
Good luck to Newburyport, all-state tournament. You got some great teams out there. Go get your schedules planned because there's a whole lot of action. Like I said, it's kind of madness. So go follow these guys. There's going to be road games too, hopefully. So go try to give some Newburyport support on the road as well because it means a lot on the state tournament level when you can get some fan support in there. So thank you to May Power. Thank you to Sarah Hayden, Ryan Rothberg, Maya Gassman. We appreciate you. My small but mighty team here in Newburyport. Kyle Hodgson, Drew Moholland, live at Drew's house. Peace.